Good evening. Welcome to the business meeting of the Florence City Council. Please rise. We pray for the wisdom to make decisions that are beneficial to the people represented here. Empower us to speak honestly, reflect wisely, and vote with integrity. We say guns tonight. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Mrs. Wingo,
Here.
Ms. Chambers,
Here.
Mr. Wynn,
Here.
Mrs. Whalen,
Here.
Mr. Schneider,
Here.
and Mrs. Cable.
Here.
Mayor, we have a quorum.
For your consideration is approval of the minutes of the special meeting, March 17th, 2026. Is there a motion to approve?
So,
Ms. Whalen, second by Ms. Wingo. Any discussion? All in favor?
aye.
Any opposed? We have for your consideration the first reading of 06-2026. This is an ordinance relating to the adoption of zoning text amendments to the Boone County zoning regulations applicable to the Boone County Fiscal Court and the legislative bodies for the City of Florence, Walton, and the City of Union as members of the Boone County, Kentucky Planning Unit, and recommending that the zoning text amendments be considered for enactment to regulate and define manufactured home qualified, and mobile home, and identify zoning districts where such uses are allowed as authorized uses within the Boone County Planning Unit for Boone County, Kentucky. These text amendments to the Boone County zoning regulations being to Article 40, Section 4000, Article 5, Section 505.1, 505.2, 505.3, 505.4, 505.5, and Article 20, Section 2001, subject to the recommended terms and provisions set forth in these recommended zoning text amendments set forth in the Technical Design Review Committee report, and providing that these text amendments be approved and become part of the Boone County zoning regulations text applicable to the City of Florence, Kentucky. The purpose of this ordinance is to approve text amendments to the Boone County zoning regulations text. These text amendments being enacted to regulate and define manufactured home qualified, and mobile home, and to identify zoning districts where such uses are allowed as authorized uses. The full text of Ordinance 06-2026, including its exhibits, is available for examination in the office of the City Clerk of the City of Florence, Kentucky, and the Florence Government Center, 8100 Union Boulevard, Florence, Kentucky, during regular office hours. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Ms. Wingo? Second by Mr. Wynn. We did have discussion of this at the last meeting. We had a Planning and Zoning Committee report. Ms. Wingo, is there anything that you'd like to add?
Only that we did meet on this. This came to us from the county to give a definition. We did not feel that we needed another public hearing on this matter and forwarded to City Council for approval.
Mr. Morgan, did you have anything else to add? You did make a presentation at the last meeting. Any other discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Mrs. Wingo,
Yes.
Ms. Chambers,
Yes.
Mr. Wynn,
Yes.
Mrs. Whalen,
Yes.
Mr. Schneider,
Yes.
Mrs. Cable.
Yes.
Mayor, motion passes 6-0.
Next, we have for your discussion consideration of Resolution R26003-A. This is a consideration of the resolution of R26003 of the Boone County Planning Commission recommending approval with conditions for a request of Quick Trip per Gwen Keene, applicant for National Retail Properties, LP, owner for a change and approved concept development plan and a commercial services 3 district for an approximate 2-acre development located at 6808 Burlington Pike, Kentucky, including the property having the parcel identification number of 072.00-00-011 2022, and providing the recommendation be forwarded to the City of Florence, Kentucky. I do understand we did have a Planning and Zoning Committee, two meetings regarding this project, try to get some additional information. I understand that it did not come with a recommendation. I do want to have Mr. Morgan make the presentation, and then we can discuss further.
Okay. On screen, I'm going to start out with a site vicinity map. Of course, we're looking at a 2-acre site at Burlington Pike and Turfway Road. It's a change in concept plan to allow a quick trip gas station and convenience store on that property. Of course, this is the former Frisch's site. A little zoning history. Back in 1982, the property was rezoned to commercial services to allow a restaurant use. Of course, that became Frisch's. This is the topography of the site. It's very little grade change. You can see 920 feet above sea level in the southwest portion, 910 feet above sea level in the northern extreme of the property. Future land use map shows the property forecasted for commercial uses in the year 2040. This is the concept plan that was submitted. It shows a 6,445 square foot convenience store with outdoor dining tables. You can see them here. There's bollards between the building and the parking stalls, these little black dots, and I'm going to show you some pictures of that. The fuel canopy is out front. It covers 7 islands or 14 fueling locations. 3 access points would be utilized. Of course, Frisch's right now today has an existing right-in, right-out. There's the full access to the Remke Center, which also accesses 7 Brew. And also there's the access on Turfway Road that allows right-ins, left-ins, and right-outs. There is no left-out across Turfway, and I'm going to show you pictures of that. There's 50 parking spaces on site. There's a dumpster in the back, air station, and there's a sidewalk connection that goes out to Turfway Road. There's landscaping islands and a new monument sign. That new monument sign would be substantially smaller than what's there today for Frisch's. These are the building elevations that were submitted. You can see the building is largely brick. There would be some mesh to screen the mechanical units up top. This photo is another building prototype, so don't look at it for the building, but you can see the bollards, you can see their outdoor seating area, you can see what they also do normally for outside display. This is the gas canopy elevation, so we have 7 islands again, 14 fueling locations, so it's 196 feet by almost 32 feet. This is the proposed sign. It's about 14 feet tall. It's about 58 and a half square feet in area. The prices would change between cash and credit. They did submit a traffic impact study into the record with the Planning Commission. The total car trips, this is observed rate from other quick trip developments. There would be 3,484 trips on a normal weekday. The AM peak would show 224 vehicles. The PM peak about 230. As far as new trips for the weekday, it's 836. The AM peak is 54, and the PM peak would be 57 new trips. Again, an aerial of the site. The one thing to add from this photo is, of course, the new 7 Brew is now located on this parcel immediately to the northwest. This is the Turfway Road access, so again, it's right in it's right out. You can make a left in from this, but you cannot make a left out. As far as Kentucky 18, this is the right in, right out on the existing Frisch's lot. The Remke Center has full access, and of course the subject parking lot ties into the Remke Center. If you know how to do it, you can cut through the Remke's parking lots and wind up on Cavalier Boulevard at the signalized intersection. Of course, exiting customers traveling towards Turfway Road would need to use Kentucky 18. Of course, this is proximity to the site to Seven Hills Church and also the interstate. Looking northwest along Turfway, and looking southeast at the intersection of 18 and Turfway and Curtis. So on February 4th, the Planning Commission voted 11-2 to recommend approval of this application to the city, and those are the three conditions that were recommended with their approval. The Planning and Zoning Committee met on this 2 times, on March the 11th and then also on March 25th. One of the main discussion points was traffic impact, because the traffic impact study would still had not been acted on by KYTC. KYTC provided the applicant's team and the City of Florence staff an update on 3/17, and it was shared with the the Planning and Zoning Committee on 3/25. It reads as follows. After review of the traffic impact study, Kentucky Transportation Cabinet will require a right-in, right-out restriction to the existing full access point on Kentucky 18, as well as the access point on the opposite side of the intersection. We also want to see more information about trips at other locations. Can you please provide the counts used to derive trip generation for the site? Therefore, the traffic impact study will need to be revised to analyze the impacts to the other access points. Based on this email, the Planning and Zoning Committee decided to send the application on to City Council without a recommendation. They directed staff to prepare draft conditions if the project is approved and draft findings for denial if the application is denied. These draft conditions and findings have been provided to Council for review and discussion. So everybody has a set of them. So that is my presentation.
Ms. Wingo, did you have anything?
I would just say, as we went through this application, really the developer was agreeable to any of the changes that we were requesting as far as anything for design, building materials, the materials for the, that would go in front of the dumpster closure, that sort of thing. So they were very agreeable to everything. Our biggest issue has been not having that approval from the Transportation Cabinet that allows us to, well, that allowed Mr. Wynn and I to feel like we could make a final determination on it, and also to give the developer a little more time, perhaps, to get information from the Transportation Cabinet. But as far as I know, that nothing else has been received since that March 17th? Or email that they sent?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, yeah, they sent their comments on the 17th, so that's kind of where we are.
Karen? Anyone else on council? So, this is just a discussion, we won't take formal action, but, until we, do a first reading. Does anybody else have anything they want to add?
Mayor, I'll just expand on it a little bit. The right-in, right-out on Turfway Road wasn't, we didn't have an issue with that. It's just there is no other exit onto Turfway Road from the site for the property, and it's required to go on 18. You would have to, and again, it's right-in, right-out at the Frisch's lot, right? That's, you can only enter that way. And then the Remke's, that will change what happens for Remke's customers as well, because if this goes through, then they would have to turn right, leaving Remke's, or go back through the back out to the traffic light. There's also a consideration of how trucks would exit, where they'll go to leave the property, access around Remke's, if that's permitted. They could come up one side of Remke's, or they could, either side of Remke's, I guess a truck could go up, but I think Remke's, we had talked about getting agreement from them that that was permissible for them to use their drives for their trucks to go through. So there were just a lot of questions that we had about the impact that this would have on traffic. And again, waiting for something more from the state of Kentucky. We pretty much are at a standstill as far as trying to figure out how to accommodate.
Gary, do you have anything else?
No, ma'am, she brought up the trust.
You do have in your packets, Ms. Clinton?
I was just going to mention that this is a walking community as well on that side of town. So we do have a lot of community members who do walk back and forth, and the concern of just traffic in that area for the individuals who, utilize, just safety concerns and whatnot.
Yeah, I'll just say real quick, if council wants to take action moving towards denial, you can actually do that tonight. If you want to take action and move towards approval, that wouldn't take place till next week. We would set it on the agenda, prepare an ordinance. We have those finding of facts drafted. So if there's any additional discussion that you need prior to making this decision, we're happy to have that right now. But you can take action for denial tonight if you so choose.
They have the findings of facts with them.
And if that is the route, if through a formal vote and somebody makes that motion, then Todd will read those into the record.
Ms. Whalen?
I guess, and forgive my voice, it's either allergies or a 4-year-old preschooler. I would like to make a motion for the denial of this resolution and the entry of the finding of facts for denial to be entered into the record so that we can take the vote and know whether we're going to go that direction.
A second.
All right, so we have a motion.
Oh, I'm sorry. We have a motion by Ms. Whalen, second by Ms. Chambers. Mr. Morgan, would you please read? Let me read the municipal order, and then we'll read the findings of fact. Is that?
Yeah,
that-
my only comment is if you vote to overrule the recommendation of the Planning Commission, you must adopt findings of fact. If you want to approve the recommendation of the Planning Commission, findings of fact for approval are contained in the packet, in the record that you all received. So, with
And-
that said,
And a overturning of a planning commission record requires a supermajority.
correct. In order to overturn a recommendation from the Planning Commission, a majority of full council, regardless of the number in attendance, and since there's 6 in attendance, it doesn't really matter. So it will take 4 votes to override, excuse me, it will take 4 votes to override the recommendation of the Planning Commission with findings of fact, supporting that recommendation for overruling the recommendation.
And as a reminder, the mayor does not vote.
Yes, the mayor is not able to vote to break a tie
On a
in a
plan.
zoning matter issue, which is what we have here tonight. So if it's a 3-3 vote, then it would be incumbent upon council to either step back and debate the issue, reconsider the issue until you break the tie. If in fact it is deadlocked at 3-3, then the recommendation of the Planning Commission with the Planning Commission
Conditions.
conditions would be approved.
Not with the city council's
Not
conditions.
not with the Planning Committee's additional conditions, correct. I hope that all made sense.
So just want to make sure everybody understands. A municipal order would only need one.
Now, if
But
this
if
is
we
a
approved it-
resolution, if that's what council is so inclined to do.
So should we, I'm going to read the municipal order, and then I'm going to let him read the findings of fact into the record.
Yes.
Municipal Order MO1, 2026, a municipal order and resolution overruling and denying a recommendation from the Boone County Planning Commission contained in Resolution Number R26003A to approve a request of Quick Trip per Gwen Keene, applicant for National Retail Properties LP owner, for a change in approved concept development plan in a Commercial Services 3 district for an approximate 2-acre tract located at 6808 Burlington Pike, Florence, Kentucky, including the property having the following parcel identification number, PIDN 072.00-00-011.02. And so, Ms. Whalen, you make that motion?
I do.
And was it Ms. Wingo that seconded, or Ms. Chambers? And then the findings of fact?
Okay. The City of Florence Planning and Zoning Committee recommends the Boone County Planning Commission's recommendation of approval with conditions be overturned and denied based on the following findings of fact. Number one, the request is not in agreement with the Boone County Comprehensive Plan for the following reasons. First, the proposal is not in agreement with the following are Boone County Plan 2040 goals and objectives. The first one reads, currently accepted and innovative design methods, land use management tools, and coordination among agencies, as well with public infrastructure shall be pursued to produce a healthy, well-designed community that supports residents and business. Second one, interstate commercial uses as well as the freight logistics industry shall be in close proximity to interstate interchanges for maximum convenience and economy to the traveling public, while minimizing traffic congestion except in the city of Florence where overlay districts exist to promote this type of industry. The next one, priority shall be given towards maintaining, protecting, and improving the capacity and safety of the existing road system across jurisdictions. The next one, the local transportation system in Boone County shall be maintained and improved to enhance the overall safety and level of service. The next one, traffic impact analysis should be used as a tool to address impacts to the existing transportation system. As far as a note regarding those, the 2040 goals and objectives are being referenced because the Boone County Plan 2040 plan elements were valid and in effect at the time the subject application was submitted to the Planning Commission. Letter B, the proposal is not in agreement with the following Boone County Plan 2045 goals and objectives. First, utilize planning to continue the development of Boone County as an identifiable leader within the region and state in creating a high quality of life for its residents. Next, continue to employ a combination of established and innovative design methods, land use management tools, coordination among agencies, and development of public infrastructure to produce a healthy, well-designed community that supports residents and business. Next, give priority to maintaining, protecting, and improving the capacity and safety of the existing road system across jurisdictions to minimize the displacement or relocation of people, communities, businesses, and community facilities as the county grows. Note, the 2045 goals and objectives were adopted by the City of Florence on July 30th of 2024. Finding C, the proposal is not in agreement with the following future land use development guidelines found in the land use element of our Boone County Plan 2040. That reads, developments in Boone counties must recognize the potential impacts of associated traffic on adjoining properties and transportation systems. The need exists to protect the capacity and safety of the existing roadway network and to plan improvements to accommodate new development and travel patterns. Access management provisions include the coordination of curb cuts, adequate corner clearance and sight distance for access points, adequate spacing between access points, shared access points and parking facilities, provision for access connections to adjoining properties, and dedication of public right-of-way. The next one, developments in Boone County must be designed where appropriate to improve the county's transportation network system of roadways, and functional classifications must be used in the planning for and designing of new developments. Collector roadways should be extended and developed to provide for the safe movement of traffic through and between subdivisions. Developments along existing arterials and collector roadways should not have direct driveway access but should be served by a local street. Appropriate road connections should be constructed to provide alternative routes for traffic to and through specific projects and to enhance the capacity of existing streets. As far as the Planning and Zoning Committee comments regarding these findings, 1A through 1C, they are as follows. The zoning map amendment was approved in 1982, which allowed a restaurant use on the subject site. Traffic volumes and traffic patterns were considered for that type of use. The applicant's request for a change in concept plan proposes a land use which generates considerably more traffic and different traffic patterns. Given the proposed land use, the Planning and Zoning Committee finds the increased traffic volumes and traffic patterns would create a public safety issue in the immediate area and road systems servicing the property. The next one, the application is not in agreement with the comprehensive plan because the traffic impact study is incomplete and does not adequately evaluate the operational impacts of the proposed development. A March 17, 2026 email from Lindsay Breffield with Kentucky Transportation Cabinet provided the following update on the submitted traffic impact study. First, the trip generation rates for the proposed development and other quick trip locations need further validation. Next, after review of the traffic impact study, Kentucky Transportation Cabinet will require a right-in, right-out restriction to the existing full access point on Kentucky 18, as well as the access point on the opposite side of the intersection. Therefore, the traffic impact study will need to be revised to analyze the impacts to other access points. The next one, without an approved traffic impact study, the Planning and Zoning Committee cannot determine whether the proposed use will maintain roadway capacity or operate safely within the existing transportation system. The right-in, right-out restriction, nor the anticipated diversion of traffic to surrounding roadways such as Cavalier Boulevard, a city-maintained street, have not been evaluated. These omissions prevent a full understanding of the proposal's impact on level of services, access management, queuing, and the overall function and safety of the transportation network. In addition, Florence City Council cannot wait for a final determination to be made on the traffic impact study because the deadline to act on the Planning Commission's recommendation is May the 5th of 2026. Those are the findings.
Is there any further discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry,
So
did you
what's our
say?
What's our proposal to deny?
This is approving the municipal order.
Okay.
It's a order and resolution overruling and denying a recommendation from the Boone County Planning Commission. So if you vote yes, you're voting to deny the project,
Right. Correct.
and it would require 4 votes.
Mrs. Wingo,
Yes.
Ms. Chambers,
Yes.
Mr. Wynn,
Yes.
Mrs. Whalen,
Yes.
Mr. Schneider,
Yes.
Mrs. Cable.
Yes.
Mayor, motion passes 6-0.
Thank you. Next, I'm sorry. Next, we have for your consideration a resolution R-26006A of the Boone County Planning Commission recommending approval with conditions for requests of McBride Dale Clarion per Jonathan Rocher, applicant for Village at the Mall Holdings LLC for a concept development plan and a commercial 2 plan development Mall Road C2 PDMR district for an approximate 10.7 acre area located at 7606 to 7654 Mall Road, Florence, Kentucky, and providing the recommendations be forwarded to the city of Florence, Kentucky. Mr. Morgan, do you have a presentation?
I do. So on screen, I'm going to start out with a site vicinity map looking at Village of the Mall parking lot on Mall Road. It's a concept plan request to allow a Dutch Brothers Coffee drive-through restaurant on a proposed outlot. This is the concept plan that was submitted. The outlot would be 8/10 of an acre approximately in the northern portion of the parking lot. As far as this concept plan that was submitted, it shows a 986 square foot restaurant with a walk-up window. There is no indoor seating. There's 9 employee parking stalls. There's a dumpster enclosure. As far as stacking, there's 2 lanes. So with 1 vehicle at the window, there would be 15 vehicles in a protected queue before they reach back out into the strip center parking lot. This was the landscaping plan that was submitted with the request. One thing I'll add, Public Services does not want the additional landscaping in the Mall Road right-of-way if this application is approved, but the other landscaping would be installed. They did submit their menu through the public hearing process, so you can see they have, of course, drinks and some limited food options. All the food options will be quick. Zoning map shows the property is zoned Commercial 2 Plan Development Mall Road Overlay District. This is the Mall Road Overlay District, so this site is located in Area 1. So this had to go through this process because the Area 1 recommendations require all business functions to be indoors. So it could not proceed through an expedited zoning process and needed this public hearing process. As far as the future land use map, it's forecasted for commercial uses. Aerial map of the site. So looking north towards Chipotle, south towards Five Guys. Of course, the outlot is in front of My Salon Suites. You can see the other tenant spaces in the strip center. And across the street, other side of Mall Road. Topography is fairly flat. There were some public hearing comments. Some of them were Dutch Brothers is more well-known than Seven Brew. Dutch Brothers spoke. Peak times are 10 to 11 and 2 to 3 p.m. Planning Commission asked for traffic data from other stores. And there are a couple designated mobile pickup spaces on the plan. So the Planning Commission recommended approval of this on March the 4th with those two conditions that you see on screen. And one of those was it should follow the updated traffic management plan and the updated sign package that were presented to the Planning Commission. So these are those plans. So this is the traffic management plan for the grand opening, which would be the first 2 days. So LB is line busters. So these would be staff that would be out in the parking lot. You can also see for the opening day, they are going to increase the stacking because they're expecting overflow crowds those days. So this green line here would add to the stacking lanes. And again, these employees would be out there directing traffic. As far as A-frame signage, anything with an AF is an A-frame sign, so they would have these out, again, to help direct traffic those first 2 days. As far as regular operations, these would be the employees that would help guide and direct traffic. And then as far as sign placement, again, they're showing some A-frame signage that would go out on a regular business day. This was the updated sign package. You can see they originally submitted with this many signs up top, and the Planning Commission kind of helped them rope that in a little bit, so it's a little bit less. So this is the front elevation view from Mall Road. Just two signs on the front, and also an address sign. Back of the building would have nothing. This is a view from Chipotle, so this is the drive-through sign, so you can see two signs and also the menu board that would be mounted to the building. And this is the walk-up elevation from the parking lot, so this is where you could walk up in order. This is the menu board on the side. This is a visual what the menu board looked like mounted to the building, only 10.7 square feet. These would be the menu boards out in the drive-through. There would be two of these, again, 10.7 square feet, 5 feet, 7 inches tall. So the Planning and Zoning Committee met on March 25th, and we did add, they are recommending some additional conditions, and I'll just read over that. A note shall be added to the plan requiring drive-through stacking to follow the approved concept plan and traffic management plans unless they are changed by other conditions below. If repeated complaints and city verification show that queuing is causing unsafe or obstructed conditions in the Village at the Mall parking lot or mall access drives, the city may require corrective measures and may temporarily suspend drive-through operations. Except in an emergency, the city will provide at least 48 hours written notice to the property owner and operator. Drive-through operations may resume after the city and the property owner agree on corrective actions and the city confirms the issue has been resolved. The second one, A-frame signage shall not be permitted during regular operations unless vehicle drive-through stacking encroaches into the strip center parking lot. A-frame signage shall not exceed what is shown in the traffic management plan and shall be removed once the vehicle drive-through stack is contained on the subject lot. The owner of the Village at the Mall strip center shall give their consent before any A-frame signage is placed on their lot. Other condition, the following changes shall be made to the February 8th, 2026 sign package. A total of 4 menu boards shall be permitted in the parking lot, and 2 shall be permitted mounted to the building per the submitted sign specs. Secondly, accent lighting shall not be permitted on any building facade. Freestanding signage for the business shall be limited to an outlot monument sign which meets the following. The maximum height would be 6 feet tall. Maximum sign area would be 20 square feet. The base would be shall be constructed with the same brick that's being used on the building. Next, the dumpster enclosure structure shall be constructed with the same materials and colors as the principal building. and the proposed landscaping shown on the Mall Road right-of-way shall not be required per public services. And that was the recommendation from the Planning and Zoning Committee.
Ms. Wingo?
I just want to add, one of our concerns when we first saw this, I think, was worrying about Mall Road and, traffic in and out kind of thing. There, it is, you have to go back the access road or the traffic light that is on the other end of the strip center to get in and out of that strip center. So traffic getting into it will go from either one of those locations through that front drive that's in front of the actual building itself to access down into it, much the same as you would when you go to the Five Guys to go and park to eat. If you wanted to go park your car and go inside and eat there, you have to go through that parking lot. They've worked very closely with the owners of the property, of the mall, of the strip center. And, I think they have a good working relationship and have kind of been hashing through all these different things that are going to happen to make it work. And they're all in agreement to making this happen the right way.
Ms. Chambers?
I just want to make a comment that there's been some concern about the traffic that this would bring to Mall Road. And my comment is that we used to have a lot more traffic on Mall Road than what we have right now. So,
I agree. Thank you. Mr. Nguyen, did you have anything?
No, it's just that there's no access to Mall Road. There's no curb cut or anything like that going on that, so that's not going to create any problem there.
Any other discussion?
I have a question. In regards to the corrective measures, what kind of corrective measures would we look into if it did become a problem?
It could be more signage on the property, it could be more of that A-frame signage, could be requesting more employees out on the site, so we would be having discussions with the operator about that and coming up with a game plan after diagnosing what those problems were.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? All right. We will bring this forward then at the next meeting for our first reading. Next, we have discussion on an appointment for Urban Forest Commission appointment. You did receive in your memo that, or in your packet, that memo. And bear with me here. It is for Ms. Susan Daniel, who recently completed our Mayor's Academy. And Ms. Daniel's resume was included in your packet. Is there any other discussion? All right. At this time, there is a need for a closed session pursuant to KRS 61.8101C litigation proposed or pending against or behalf of the city.
Excuse me, are we going to talk about anything after the meeting?
Yes, we will.
Okay.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Ms. Wingo, second by Mr. Schneider. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We will return to this room for potential continued business.
I'm not thinking.
Do we have a motion to come back into session? Mr. Nguyen, second by Mr. Schneider, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. For your consideration, we have Municipal Order MO2 2026. It's a municipal order authorizing and directing the mayor to engage the legal services of DBL Law relating to the suspected diversion of city revenue. Is there a motion? Mr. Schneider, second by Ms. Whalen. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Is there any council members that desire recognition?
You're not going to do a mayor's report?
She wanted a
Do I have one?
roll call vote.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let's do a roll call vote for that Municipal Order 02, 2026.
Mrs.
You're right,
Wingo?
That's right.
Yes.
Ms. Chambers?
Yes.
Mr. Nguyen?
Yes.
Mrs. Whalen?
Yes.
Mr. Schneider?
Yes.
Mrs. Cable?
Yes.
Mayor, motion passes 6-0.
We have the mayor's report.
I do.
Sorry about that. Florence Aquatic Center memberships are on sale now for a special preseason discount only. Information is on the city website. Check that out. Applications are now open for the second annual Florence Public, no, it's the third annual Florence Public Works Academy, a 7-week hands-on training program that runs from June 8th through July 24th, designed to provide valuable skills and certifications in public works. Participants will gain experience in concrete work, storm sewer installation, landscaping, emergency vehicle maintenance, and more, with flexible scheduling options available. Application is on the city website, and you can contact the Public Services Department at 859-647-5416 for more information. Spring Cleanup Week is scheduled for April 20th through the 26th. As a Florence resident, you may bring unwanted trash and debris, excluding hazardous waste, to the Public Services Facility located at 7850 Tanners Lane for disposal. You must show proof of residency. Call our Public Services Department at 859-647-5416 for additional information. Join me, Coffee with the Mayor, on Wednesday, April 29th from 8:30 to 9:30 for an informal conversation over coffee and light snacks. This is a great opportunity to ask questions. We will have the department heads there and departments you can ask questions of them as well. With spring in full bloom, it is the perfect time to start capturing the beauty of Florence. Our citywide photo contest begins May 1st and runs through May 15th. You can email your photos to photocontest@florence-ky.gov. And I believe that is all. Is there anyone on council that desires recognition?
Yes, please.
Ms. Whalen?
I'd ask a couple times if we could place this on the agenda again, but was told I could bring it up tonight if I wanted to. I didn't see any real justification for asking staff to invest their time in drafting any new legislation regarding the issue without first determining whether there was a consensus to change it. I've had a lot of thoughts on what I believe to be an excessive increase in the compensation of the mayor of the city of Florence, and so I wanted to have one more discussion before the state mandated deadline to make the changes. Ordinance 0524 was passed in early 2024 and will increase the salary for the person elected mayor in November of '26 and taking office on January 1st of '27. The salary at the time to be set at $86,937, an increase of $35,227 or 68% from the date that the ordinance was passed. The salary of the mayor at the time the ordinance was passed was $51,710, and that has been subjected to the rubber dollar increase or the cost of living increase each July 1st since that ordinance was passed. The cost of living increases will also apply to the new level of compensation going forward starting in July of '27. The memo that we received shows justification for the increase by comparing the mayor's salary with the cities of Georgetown, Jeffersontown, Hopkinsville, Elizabethtown, and Shelbyville, Kentucky. No Northern Kentucky city was included in the salary survey because no other Northern Kentucky city has a salary anywhere close to what the current salary is for the mayor of Florence. I understand, however, that Covington may have recently passed an increase in elected official compensation. When we were provided in other matters with a comparison of our insurance premium tax rate that we just voted to decrease, it was Northern Kentucky cities that were used to show how we stacked up, not cities in central or western Kentucky. We compare our real estate taxes, our payroll taxes, our police, fire, and EMS run volumes to our neighboring cities in northern Kentucky as well. When looking at elected official compensation, the justification is that no other northern Kentucky city comes close to comparing to Florence and to the operations and full services we provide, so we must reach further out to the state to come up with a high enough salary to justify the increase. However, when we have done salary surveys in the past, it's northern Kentucky cities that we compare all of our employees to. It's always been important that we compensate our employees on a level playing field with the cities and counties around us, as that is where we see our competition for maintaining the great people who work for us in our community. Their choices are close by and numerous when it comes to looking at where they would spend their career. While we never strived to have the highest paid staff, we certainly knew that we wanted to provide the best possible job options and benefits we could. That's not the case for elected officials. We make a choice to run and serve our city. We're not looking to relocate in order to receive a greater compensation package. We place our names on a ballot, not for compensation, but for the privilege of serving our community. I certainly know the number of hours it can be spent serving as mayor. I know that in order to participate in the pension system or receive full-time employee health care benefits, one must work a minimum of 30 hours a week, and that's not hard to do. The mayor, however, can choose where and how they fulfill those or any additional hours that may be spent on the job. This is a job that we choose to run for. It's servicing our community. It should be something we do because the future of the community is important to us, and the paycheck is just an added benefit. In addition, the administrative support staffing has increased in the last 3 years, both in the number of positions created and filled, as well as the total salary and benefit cost. I believe that there's still at least one approved position that has not been filled yet, but these numbers don't include the additional staff members that were needed following Linda Chapman's retirement. We're charged with being the watchdog of our tax dollars. Our community has many needs, and it's keeping a watchful eye on the wants that we keep things tighter, save money, and taxpayers benefit. It's a simple example of stewardship, watching the dollars, limiting the footprint, and not treating public resources like they're endless. All of it should start at the top. The community and our employees are all watching. Our residents have competent, qualified professionals providing the day-to-day operation and management of the city. We compensate them by comparing them to their Northern Kentucky counterparts. We should compensate the mayor the same way by using Northern Kentucky as our compass. So I say all that to say this. At this time, I'd like to make a motion that Florence City Council repeal 0524. This would repeal the legislation that would increase the compensation for the position of mayor beginning January 1, 2027. No changes were made to the council compensation with 0524. Ordinance 0996 and 01421 were amended with the passage of 0524. So I would ask Mr. Nienaber, if repealing 0524 allows those ordinances to remain intact and legal for setting the elected official compensation for the upcoming term of elected officials, and if additional legislation is required, that it has to be completed and in effect no later than the first Monday in May, and I would ask it be placed on the agenda for the next 2 business meetings or special called meetings if needed. So I do make a motion that City Council repeal 0524. And Mr. Niemann, you can give direction if there's anything beyond that that needs to be done.
If you suggest that the city council entertain an ordinance repealing 0524, what is your intentions with respect to city council compensation, city council members, and the mayor's compensation?
That it would, with the repeal of 0524, that would leave the existing ordinance in place, and city council compensation was not touched in the passage of the new ordinance.
What would that be in your?
What would what be?
what would their salary be?
What is the salary? That's the question.
So.
Well, that would not be.
If I may.
What would, yes, Mr.
There is a
Hunt.
fundamental difference. Council did not take a raise, but we did set their compensation total at the current DLG amount. In my opinion, if you revert back to that ordinance from almost 2 decades ago, it would go back to the $12,000 number for council, because all those COLAs were erased when we set the ordinance 2 years ago. So the
Well, or at least
cleanest way,
we would
the
have to
cleanest way to do this
investigate
would be
that,
just
is
to
that-
amend the ordinance.
Yes, that
and set
would
the-
have to be researched.
So the cleanest way to do this would just be to amend the ordinance to whatever compensation totals you want.
Exactly.
There's no reason to
So-
repeal it.
So, and I have asked on 3 different occasions, what exactly did you want, besides repealing it, what did you want to fix the compensation? And did you want to change the compensation for the mayor? Did you want to change the compensation for council? Or did you want to do both? I've asked for you to put that in writing.
My thought was with repealing an ordinance that took effect, with the repeal of the ordinance making the change, and that's where I ask you if the ordinance
But what are
09
you
of
trying?
96 and 014 of 21 were amended with the passage of 05 of 24. And that's why I said I'm asking council if repealing 05 of 24 allows those existing ordinances to remain intact and legal, leaving the elected official compensation where it was prior to the passage of 05-24.
Is it your intention that the salaries, the compensation that were set in the 09-96 and the previous, that they would be adjusted with the COLA?
And I can give you some rough numbers off the top of my head. And keep in mind, it's been a few years since I've looked at this. So 96 set it at 12 grand for council.
Yeah.
With the DLG mandatory increases from there until we amended the ordinance.
It would be
Council
more.
salary was 17,184, something like that.
It would be very, very close to what it is.
Correct. So based on based on the fact that this council right now is receiving that new compensation total that was set by ordinance 2 years ago. It is my opinion, you need to look at this, that if you repeal it, it's going to revert them back to the $12,000 number.
But council didn't take an increase with the passage of that ordinance.
They didn't, but we went ahead, because it's always been conflicting when you have those DLG increases for 20 years. And the number goes up, but the ordinance is not reflective of what the base pay is. So as a housekeeping measure, we just took where we were at with DLG, and that base number became part of that ordinance. So I mean, it really doesn't matter. All we got to do is just figure out the numbers and put the numbers in a new ordinance.
So in order to avoid any confusion, well, I interpret it this way or you interpret it that way, we should have something in writing with what you expect the compensation to be for council and for mayor.
And
So there's no misunderstanding, and there's no confusion, and there's no, does the COLA apply, does it not apply?
Yeah, and then whatever Northern Kentucky cities, to make it defensible criteria, whatever Northern Kentucky cities we want to compare it to. I know Covington just went to 97,000 for their mayor. And I know that there's multiple other ones that are adjusting their mayor salary right now. I know Erlanger, Independence.
Bellevue,
They're all up
Fort
at
Thomas,
Walton just
yeah.
did it. So there's a lot of stuff. And that's why even when you use the KLC survey, I spent a tremendous amount of time making sure we had perfect peer cities when you're doing this. You can't just go off the KLC survey. You have to do open records requests. It takes weeks to do this. And I put a lot of serious time into it. So if you want to say Northern Kentucky cities, that's fine. We just need to put in the work. I'll put all my budget stuff to the side and start looking into it if that's what council's desire is. But is it council's desire?
Well, that's why I said there was no sense in proceeding with a lot of work on anybody's part until I knew what the consensus is. My thought process, Mr. Neighbor, was that it would leave the salaries at the rate that they currently are.
Which is,
I don't know.
It's going to be, and this is
We'll
once
look
again
at-
very approximate, 17,000 something for council and 52, 53 for mayor currently. That could be off a
Right.
1,000.
I mean, that's whatever's in the budget, and
Yeah.
I thought that was
So just so there's no misunderstanding, again, I think we need to have that in writing, and what the effect of these increases are going to be in terms of, does the COLA apply? Does it not apply? But as of a certain date, beginning, I would expect January 1st of 2027, that this is what they will be,
Yeah.
period. And this is what the COLA will be. Will it be applied or not applied?
And the cleanest way to do it is through a new ordinance.
ordinance.
Repealing it, I mean, it's fundamentally the same process.
Yes.
You still have to have 2 readings.
Yeah,
Yes. It has to have 2 readings.
it's just cleaner that way.
so whatever the existing rate is, as of, I mean, you're working on
Today plus, so do we want to go ahead and take into account the DLG? I mean, we haven't had the budget, so I guess that would, depending on when we pass this. Now, DLG will take effect July 1st for elected officials, so we're good there. So what everybody ever is getting currently paid is what you want to set it up.
So
So
we
essentially,
have-
you just want to reduce the mayor's salary. That's what the ordinance will read.
So just want to make sure that I understand what we're going to do. So a motion to repeal is really out of order because we need a reading summary, we need an ordinance. To
Yes.
repeal an ordinance is an ordinance, so we do have to have a discussion
That
first and
is
second
correct,
reading.
Mayor. That
Which
is
is why
correct.
we've asked for things in writing.
Yeah.
So to make sure if we are even going to go through this exercise, we would need to have I don't want to say consent, but the interpretation that council wants to go down this road. We would have to have basically 4 people to pass any kind of legislation. Do we have that at this time? So that we would, we'd have to staff would have to put some work into it, as well as legal counsel.
Yes.
So do we have that? Mr. Schneider?
I have no interest in pursuing the conversation. I think it's one person's opinion that a current mayor or future mayor makes too much money.
I disagree. I agree with Vice Mayor Whalen.
I have no reason to revote at all. We did it 2 years ago.
I'm not interested either.
Ms. Chambers, did you have anything you wanted to add?
I don't have anything to add, because
Okay.
it's already,
It
you
does-
already have David and Gary and Pat saying no.
So you have
It's a 3-3.
3 to 3, it would not move forward. Obviously, think about it, if you change your mind, let us know, but.
well, don't you
Proceed.
won't you vote on it? And that
Absolutely
breaks the-
not.
Why not?
Because this matter was decided by this body by a clear majority. And if you have a 3-3 tie, you have not demonstrated to me that you should overrule a ruling of this body that is already made. It's already
Correct.
voted on this matter, it's already decided this matter. I will not weigh in on that matter at that time. I will not weigh in on it at this time.
So it's not an official vote then? Is that right, Mr. Neighbor?
It is not an official vote, no. But
But it doesn't sound like there's.
yeah, people have expressed their, it is not possible to have an official vote right now because we don't have an ordinance pending before this body. In order to repeal an ordinance, you have to have an ordinance. You just can't. So we have to have first reading, second reading, publication, reading summary, and we don't have any of that. So we are not in a position this evening to take any formal action on that question. However, I think based upon what has been said, I mean, it's pretty clear. Am I missing something?
So it was an inappropriate motion.
I don't think it was inappropriate.
No, it was
Yeah.
not inappropriate, not at all.
Inappropriate to vote to repeal the ordinance.
No.
There was no reading summary. To discuss it was not.
I guess I was unaware that you needed an ordinance to repeal them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anyone else on council desire recognition?
I do, I just have
Ms.
a couple of
Chambers?
little things. On our, I know that sometimes we don't have meetings, right, because we have different things that go on, holidays. I know that the previous week was spring break for Boone County, and so my kids were off school. And I was not aware that we weren't having a meeting till the Friday prior to when that meeting should have happened. So I work a second job. Was not able to utilize spring break to maybe take a trip out of town or, do something special with my kids. So I just wanted to make the request that in the future, if we're not going to have a meeting, maybe all of council could know in enough time to maybe plan things.
I know Melissa does work on the schedule. In fact, I think she did just send out a request for your next 3 months. I don't police her requests. I don't know. Josh, you can maybe give her that
I guess
feedback.
I'll start with apologizing. I want you to go out of town. I went out, if it's any consolation, I took my kids out of town and spent way too much money, so you probably saved money staying home. But we will try to do better with that. I don't know, what messaging was sent out specifically on spring break. But I'll check with Melissa next week.
Thank you. And then I also want to follow up with some inquiries on, do we have any scooter ordinances coming or that we're looking at? For the
Oh,
electric
boy.
scooters?
Well, the police chief's still here, so I know that he's not a fan. Scooter ordinances.
Oh. We've been
These
working
kids.
with the Commonwealth Attorney to try and figure out, because there's nothing, no state laws really that go specifically at the electric scooters. One thing is, like, if it's an electric scooter, you have to be 16 to drive it. But you can be 15 and drive a car. So I know, like I said, we're working with the Commonwealth Attorney to see if there's anything we can come up with as far as laws. The other thing is they have to abide by all traffic laws. So if we see them violate a traffic law, we can cite them. But a lot of kids in the parks and stuff like that, they know that what we're doing and they take off in the woods, and we've caught a couple of them, but a lot of them get away. So we are looking into it, and it may be something that we end up having to get with Josh and do a city ordinance, because there's not a state law that specifically goes for that.
We get a lot of requests for golf carts, specifically like in Orleans. There's been a lot of requests over the years for that. It's not really a zoning thing, so it is probably a standalone ordinance. It's something we're happy to evaluate. I don't know, I know they're everywhere in Union. Around that new promenade, there was probably 20 kids on those things, doing wheelies, everything else.
So do you mean a sit-down scooter, like,
Well,
looks like a mini motorcycle, or do you mean the stand-up ones that they stand up?
Either or. I can tell you that, the companies you rent from, is it called Bird or is that the bicycle
Bird,
one?
yeah.
They approached the city about bringing those in, and they wanted to do a geofence between Mall Road and Houston Road. And in our mind, we kept thinking about how many people would get hit trying to cross 18.
Yeah.
And we nixed it. I think hopefully one day there'll be the right development at the mall, that something like that could be there. That type of company could come in and do it, because you can buy the licensing and do that as a private representative of them. But more what you're talking about is youth on these motorized carts. We've had a lot of damage in Orleans Park, and I know that, but there's a lot of ordinances out there that we can look at. It's not like we've got to rewrite this thing from the beginning. There's a lot of common sense legislation. It really boils down to enforcement of it and chasing kids and all that. But you're right, we're probably due to look at that one.
I guess, Ms. Chambers, I would say, are you for them or against them? Because they're vocal people on both of
But
them.
we gotta make sure everyone stays safe, right?
Yeah.
So I would just assume that a lot of cities are probably having the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and one other thing
Good point.
is, like I said, there's a KRS that is specifically to the low-speed scooters, where the kids have to be 16 years of age, but it's whether it's on a highway, bicycle lane, or bike path. Doesn't say anything about sidewalks or anything like that. And then you have the electric bikes and the other scooters and stuff like. So there's so many levels of the bikes and CCs and all that. So, like I said, unfortunately, there's just a lot of things that go into it, and whether we need to do a city ordinance and able to enforce it, that's something that we may have to look at.
It'd be one of those types of ordinances that I'd want a lot of public engagement on, because I think it would probably surprise you how many people don't want kids on the sidewalks on these things. So we'll look at it. It's a good point. It's something that's not super high priority for us, but this summer, I mean, I've noticed them everywhere this summer. So we'll take a look at it.
I would say at the very least, we just require helmets.
I mean, you can go.
Require helmets.
Yeah.
These kids are out there and they don't wear helmets. I mean, I've seen them go down and all they have to
Sure.
do is hit their head once.
I agree.
It's not only kids too. I mean, we
Well-
have another sect of our population, which
Yes.
is utilizing them a lot. And I know that I have come very close to a bad situation. So I don't want that to happen with anyone. And then I have one more thing, it's for Jason.
Is your mic on?
Oh, I'm sorry. It's me, sorry. Jason. So the website that we use to order our aquatic center passes, I was wondering if you could evaluate that, maybe look at how user-friendly it is, and maybe consider if, when we do our new budget, if we want to stick with that
RecTrack.
company or look at something else.
Are you talking about memberships?
Yes, yes, sir. And then also, a lot of these, the aquatic center doesn't have Wi-Fi access. So I just want to make a public request that we consider adding that. I know for me, I don't pay for my kids to have a phone plan, but they do have phones. And it's nice to be able to, for them to be able to then use a Wi-Fi that could be at the pool to let me know what they're doing. And it's not just for me, it's, I know there's one phone there and those kids are fighting over using it all the time. If there was Wi-Fi or parents go there and they just want to sit and while their kids are swimming and they might want to just be able to be on their computer doing their work, and especially the swim team parents. That's all.
Josh, you want Joe to look into that, or?
Yeah,
and
we
get back
certainly,
with
we certainly
Leslie?
can look into that as well.
Yeah.
Yep, and with that, we're also going to improve the cameras at the aquatic center for safety and to help PD out. There are quite a few incidents last year that weren't fully captured on camera, so we're going to be doing that before the pool opens, so.
Anyone else?
You'll be getting a memo from me this Friday that deals with the Dixie Highway Road Diet. Dixie KYTC will be hosting their own public workshop downstairs in the Government Center. I'll have all the dates. Everybody's welcome to attend. We anticipate it being pretty well attended by residents and business owners along that Dixie Highway corridor. Upon conclusion of that, the city will generate kind of our official stance on that, and they're taking all that down to Frankfurt. All the comments that they receive at these things, they're taking it down to the district office in Frankfurt, and then a decision will be made if they move forward with the road diet or not. So that'll be coming in your packets this Friday. And then also, I've been working on a new ordinance. Keep an open mind, anytime I start with that, but it deals with traffic queuing into the public right-of-way and a solution to fix that through enforcement on the businesses. So been working really hard on it, and Tom cleaned it up for me really good, kept this legal. So that'll be in your packets this Friday as well.
We always want to hear that businesses are doing well and that the city is prosperous, and we work very hard to be the center of commerce here for Northern Kentucky. However, it's a balance, and you don't want to impede the public roadway. So there's been some recent, furor about certain places to get coffee, but there's really other business. We need to think beyond that, because there are other places that have had impacts on the roadway, and we want to make sure that the public roadways are not impeded. And so any type of business should be subject to playing fairly and making sure that traffic and flow. So I think that's what the aim and intent of that legislation is, correct, Mr. Hunt?
I'm sorry,
That is the aim of that legislation, is to make sure that traffic flows.
that is the aim of it, yes.
Yes. All right.
Can I just say one more thing? I
Ms.
don't mean to
Cable.
keep you guys here longer, but since we're talking about that real quickly, I've had a lot of people reach out about Seven Brew. Is that what prompted this ordinance?
It's not any one business.
And is it gonna
So
be
it would be, yeah, it's,
Chicken places that maybe go
any,
out.
so, and I guess I'll go into this a little bit more when I
Truck
present
stops.
the ordinance next week, but we have our zoning standards, we've updated our stacking queues and the requirements, and that works really, really well for certain businesses. It's not fair to make Taco Bell have all the stacking compared to a Dunkin' or any of these other high turnover generations. This ordinance will fix that. It's going to put the pressure back on the business owner to prioritize life safety, I guess is the best way to put it. Prioritize life safety over profit in many instances, and that's what I think the issue is. There's been instances where certain gas stations may only have one pump open, yet they choose to keep it open, and you have semis stacking down the road for weeks on end. Why not just close the pump down? This ordinance will make them close the pump down. And then some of these drive-through establishments, same thing. We cannot have them impeding the public roadway. It's just a life safety issue. And there's pretty steep enforcement section associated with this, so I look forward to you reading it. It's a first of its kind. There's not another one like it in Kentucky, so feel free to go through with red ink and rip it up and we'll have a discussion.
All right. Any other department heads? Anyone in the audience desire recognition? Anybody that's left?
Nancy?
Nancy?
Sure?
Tricia? All right. If not, entertain a motion to adjourn. Mr. Nguyen, second by Mr. Schneider. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.